Uh, Third thing is, this is the test which was taken, the fluid intelligence test, which is basically the problem solving capability. And this is like regardless of your knowledge. So it doesn't require you having any knowledge, not even mathematics, nothing. It doesn't require any knowledge. That test is designed such a way that it had some easy questions, some medium complex and high complex, and based on that, the score was derived. So if you have a score of, I would say, 60, 55 to 75, that's a average score of your age. And if anything better than that is welcome, is good. But if anything less than that, also don't worry too much. There are ways and means to improve the logic and reasoning score of, I would say. So that is also one. 60, maybe we will cover that in the next lecture, if not this. That's a average. And then there is a special ability of intelligence called visual. If anything better than that is welcome. This is like, anything less than that, also don't worry. Visualize the objects, ways and means to improve the in logic and engineering core of, I would say. So that is also 160. We will cover that 75 product design. That's a average. And then there is a special ability of given intelligence called visuals. Anything better than that is welcome. So this is like, anything less than that, surprising. Visualize the objects. Some students have 100 of improve the in logic and engineering core of, I would say. So that is also 160. We should really cover that 75 product design. That's a average. And then there is a special ability of given intelligence called visuals. Because this is better than that is welcome. So this is probably what less than that, surprising. Visualize the objects. Some students have 100 of you can make logic. This is a very core of, I would say. So that is also one. Besides this, there are that 75. That's a average. And then there is special ability of intelligence called visuals. Memory is better than that is welcome. So this is probably what less than that, surprising. Visualize the objects. Some students have 100 of you can make logic. This is a very core of, I would say. That is also one. Besides this, there are that 75. That's average. And then there is special ability logic and reasoning. Memory is better than that for long. So this is probably what less than that, surprising. Visualize the objects. Some students have 100 of you can make logic. Less engineering. That is very good. Besides this, there are realize that's average. And then there is special ability logic and reasoning. Memory is better than that for long. And this is probably what less than that, surprising. Visualize there are some students have 100 of you can make logic. Less engineering. That is very good. Besides this, there are realize that's average. And then there is special ability logic and reasoning. Memory is better than that for long. And this is probably what less than that, surprising. Visualize there are some students have 100 of you can make logic. Less engineering. That is very good. Besides this, there are realize that's average. And then there is special ability logic and reasoning. Memory is better than that for long. And this is probably what less than that, surprising. Visualize there are some students have 100 of you can make logic. Less engineering. That is in the case. Besides this, there are realize that's average. And then there is special ability logic and memory is better than that for long. And this is probably what less than that, surprising. Visualize there are some students have 100 of you can make logic. Less engineering. That is in the case. Besides this, there are realize that's average. And then there is special ability logic and memory is better than that for long. And this is probably what less than that, surprising. Visualize there are some students have 100 of you can make logic. Less engineering. That is in the case. Besides this, there are realize that's average. And then there is special ability logic and memory is better than that for long. And this is probably what less than that, surprising. Visualize there are some students have 100 of you can make logic. Less engineering. That is in the case. Besides this, there are realize that's average. And then there is special ability logic and memory is better than that for long. And this is probably what less than that, surprising. Visualize there are some students have 100 of you can make logic. Less engineering. That is in the case. Besides this, there are realize that's average. And then there is special ability logic and memory is better than that for long. And this is probably what less than that, surprising. Visualize there are some students have 100 of you can make logic. Less engineering. That is in the case. and those things are there. And the third thing is a social circle around you. How is your childhood? You all know that, if the childhood has not been very good, there is an impact on psychology. Your parents play a lot of role in your psychology, the parenting style, and then even in the outside environment, whether school or your relatives, whether you have been abused, your peers, is there any bullying? So many parameters play the role in the psychology. And as a result of this, there could be psychological disorders. So it is very difficult to pinpoint reason for a given individual unless and until he is thoroughly scrutinized, and it's very difficult to tell why there is a disorder. For us, what is most important is, if there is a disorder, then we should be really resolving that as soon as possible. So the test which we have given to the students, if you get the test report, when it will tell you that you have, based on your responses, you are observed to have the symptoms of depression, and it will tell you the intensity of those depression symptoms could be mild, moderate, severe. And depending on, if you see, there is a video link which is embedded in the test report, and you are all supposed to open that video link. And our experience is, despite of we taking care of putting that video link there, no student, or very few students, open that link. So guys, if you can't go to the psychiatrist, we have brought the psychiatrist to your door. All that you need to do is just click on that link, open the video, and listen to him. He will give you the piece of advice. He's the person who have been treating hundreds and thousands of patients, so he will give you the piece of advice on what is the first thing that you should do, kind of a first aid, emotional first aid. He will provide that to you. Listen to those advices and try to follow that. It will help you. And the other thing is, of course, the root cause elimination. Now, it is very difficult to tell, especially if you have depression and anxiety symptoms. It is very difficult to tell whether it is because of the internet addiction, the other parameter that we have observed in the test. Is it because of internet addiction the depression and anxiety is there, or it is vice versa? That means, because there are depression and anxiety symptoms, students are going to internet to probably get distressed and all that. So that needs to be seen only by a counselor. Only counselor can see that. So one of the reason we have found, one of the most prominent disorder, and almost, if you see this circle here, almost 25 to 30% of the students today are having internet addiction symptoms of moderate intensity or severe intensity. हम इसको माइल्ड को छोड़ ही देते हैं, माइल्ड इंटरनेट एडिक्शन को छोड़ देते हैं, समझते हैं कि वो नहीं है, चलो मान लेते हैं कि वो नहीं है. हो सकता है कि आपको वो, the question which was asked in the assessment, probably you did not understand very well, or it could be that on that particular day your mood was not good, और वही हफ्ते में शायद आपने बहुत ज्यादा कुछ इस्तेमाल किया होगा, वगैरह वगैरह. लेकिन I must tell you that when we are saying this moderate, that means there is a high probability that you do have internet addiction symptoms. And severe का तो सवाल ही नहीं. Severe cannot come by chance. It cannot be because of the incorrect responses of your test. So what you have to do now? Let's say you have those addiction symptoms, and I must tell you, you should not be shy of that, because many of us uh, are addicted to internet. And when I say, see the title of the slide here, is it more use of internet or is it addiction? तो हुआ ये है कि हम लोग अभी बात करते करते, मैं बहुत एडिक्टेड हूँ, इस तरह के वर्ड्स हम बहुत ही लिबरली इस्तेमाल करते हैं. वी से कि यार मुझे, आई एम एडिक्टेड टू कॉफी, आई एम एडिक्टेड टू ये फेसबुक, इंस्टाग्राम. लेकिन ये एडिक्शन अलग है. मतलब हम लोग जो बात करते हैं वो अलग है, और ये टेस्ट जब आपको ऑब्जेक्टिवली बताती है, ये टेस्ट जब आपको बताती है कि आपको मॉडरेट इंटरनेट एडिक्शन है, तो उसका मतलब अलग होता है. तो क्या क्या अलग है? आई विल क्रिएट टू सिनेरियोज. वन इज मोर यूज ऑफ इंटरनेट ऑन लेफ्ट हैंड साइड, एंड लेट्स से ऑन द राइट हैंड साइड आई हैव इंटरनेट एडिक्शन. सो लेफ्ट साइड में क्या है कि लेफ्ट साइड में उसके ब्रेन में, अगर उसको इंटरनेट एडिक्शन के सिम्टम्स नहीं डिटेक्ट हुए हैं, तो उसके ब्रेन में कोई चेंजेस हुए नहीं है, दे आर जस्ट नॉर्मल. वेयर एज राइट साइड को जो है, जो ब्रेन है, जो ये टेस्ट के बाद में इंटरनेट एडिक्शन के सिम्टम जिसमें पाए हुए हैं, तो वो ब्रेन अलग है. अब वो ब्रेन अलग क्या है? तो उस ब्रेन में कुछ केमिकल चेंजेस हुए हैं. That brain has undergone some chemical changes, and because of those changes the function of the brain has changed, and because the function has changed, your behavior also has changed. इनफैक्ट आपको अगर वो टेस्ट याद होता है, मुझे पता नहीं कि इस ऑडियंस में कितने लोगों ने वो टेस्ट दिया है या नहीं है, मैं आपको वो लिंक देने वाला हूँ। लेकिन आप उसको ऑनेस्ट रिस्पॉन्सेज दे दीजिए, क्योंकि ये इसके जो टेस्ट रिजल्ट्स है वो कॉलेज के पास कभी भी शेयर नहीं किए जाते। ये कंप्यूटराइज सॉल्यूशन है, तो इसको कहीं पे भी बाहर जाने का सवाल ही नहीं है। इट इज लाइक अ मिरर, यू स्टैंडिंग इन फ्रंट ऑफ मिरर। तो वो टेस्ट में क्या पूछा था, वो टेस्ट में आपको बिहेवियर के बारे में पूछा था कि क्या आपकी बिहेवियर इस तरह की रहती है। और आपके रिस्पॉन्सेज के बेसिस पे ये पाया गया है कि अगर आपको इंटरनेट एडिक्शन है, तो इसका मतलब ये है कि बैक एंड में आपके ब्रेन में कुछ चेंजेस हुए हैं। अब वो चेंजेस क्या हुए हैं वो देख लेते हैं। तो उसके पहले मैं आपको एक 2 मिनट का एक्टिविटी देने वाला हूँ, क्योंकि मुझे पता है कि मैं सिर्फ वन वे, इफ आई गो ऑन टॉकिंग, इट विल नॉट बी गुड। I really wish I conduct this session in person, but I understand the limitations. So let's try to make this session as lively as possible. Let's interact as much as possible. And for that reason, I have invited some of your representatives in this Google Meet. I know this session is getting streamed on YouTube, so there is no opportunity for each of you to interact with me, but your representatives are there in the call in this Google Meet, and I will request all of them to freely interact with me. Don't be shy, please. I promise you, I am not going to put you in the corner. I promise you that there is nothing that will happen. If I ask some question, you can freely answer whatever comes to your mind, because there is nothing right, nothing wrong. Number one. Number two, even I also started learning this psychology subject now, at the age of 60. So you should not be shy that if you don't know anything. We just should make this session interactive, so that we spend time and learn few things about this. So my activity to all of you is that, and you please do it sincerely, even students who are on the YouTube, find the symptoms of drug addiction, and you can just do the Google, and let's say what Google says, and I will also do it here on my end. So what does Google say about the symptoms of drug addiction? You can also do it for alcoholic addiction. Let's say symptoms of alcoholic addiction. What are they? Can you just Google for 2 minutes? I'll give you 2 minutes of time, and people who are in the call, Google Meet, I would request them to type in the chat box. What did you find? What are those symptoms of alcoholic addiction or substance addiction, the drug addiction it is called as? What are they? Please help me carrying this session forward. So I'm just going to chat box and say hi to you. Do a bit of search, Google search, and type it here. I want to know from you, what did you find? Please do, all of you, please do this exercise. And can someone type here your findings? In fact, all of you, those who are in the call, Google Meet, they can just paste here what did you find, or you can type here what symptoms are there. How do we identify the person who has alcoholic addiction, substance addiction? How do we identify that? What are the symptoms that are seen? I guess the students' IDs are starting with the number, correct, in the Google Meet. I'm just hoping that you will. So who will type it first? I know it is always very difficult to take initiative and interact with the speaker, but I know you are CRs of the class, GRs or CRs, whatever you call. So I assume you are the smartest person in your class, representing your class. So guys, be friendly and just let me know what did you find on the internet. Any response? Not yet. This. So, ma'am, do we have students in the call, the Google Meet?
Sir, already some students are there in the call.
Okay, great, great. And I think their IDs start with the numbers, is it?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes.
So I can just make out in if nobody types it. But Adish, I'm really happy that you took the initiative and typed something in the chat box. Thank you very much for that. I really like those people, who take the lead and boldly start interaction. So Adish has typed it here that one of the symptom is feeling intense urges for the drug that block out any other thoughts. Excellent. So it there is an intense urge of consuming something, and we are talking about, it could be drug addiction or it could be alcoholic addiction. There is an intense urge. Secondly, the Aryan, again, thank you very much, Aryan. Shirurkar, great. My hometown is also Shirur, Aryan. Thank you for that. So Aryan says that loss of energy or motivation. Excellent. So this is another. You lose the energy to do something else. You lose the motivation. I'm sure there are many more symptoms of addiction that you must have found it. And the reason I'm telling you to do this search yourself, because these are the symptoms of internet addiction. And if you see that this list of symptoms, ये जो symptoms यहाँ दिए हुए हैं, वो सारे के सारे आपको अल्कोहलिक एडिक्शन या सब्सटेंस एडिक्शन में मिलेंगे. जैसे कि उन्होंने कहा था, लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल द स्ट्रॉन्ग अर्ज ऑफ टेकिंग दीज वॉट एवर सब्सटेंसेस. तो यहाँ पे हमको स्ट्रॉन्ग अर्ज ऑफ यूजिंग इंटरनेट होती है. जैसे कि विड्रॉल सिम्टम्स होता है when you are not using internet, you feel restless, you feel like I'm missing something, something. And then there is a strong urge of using the internet and you go online. That is a cycle, and we are going to see this cycle in the next slide. तो स्ट्रॉन्ग अर्ज होती है, और जब आप नहीं होते इंटरनेट पे ऑनलाइन, तब आपको रेस्टलेसनेस आ जाता है. तो वो एक सिम्टम है. देन टॉलरेंस होता है. टॉलरेंस मतलब क्या है कि आपने, अगेन वी कैन इक्वेट दिस टू अल्कोहलिक एडिक्शन. आपको अगर अल्कोहलिक एडिक्शन वाले लोग पता है, तो पहले उनसे वो दो दो क्या बोलते हैं, वो दो पेग लेते हैं. फिर उनसे उससे उनका नहीं होता है, तो देन दे विल टेक 3 पेग्स वो हाई होने के लिए. फिर 4 पेग पे जाते हैं, और इस तरह से वो पूरे एडिक्शन में चले जाते हैं. तो क्या होता है कि 2 पेग से जो पहले उनको हाई जो मिलता था या जो किक मिलती थी, वो 2 पेग से कुछ दिनों के बाद में नहीं मिलती. दैट इज अ सिम्टम. तो इसको बोलते हैं टॉलरेंस. इंटरनेट एडिक्शन में भी हमारा वही हाल होता है. पहले हम लोग 2 घंटा इस्तेमाल करते हैं, तो वी एंजॉय दैट टाइम, वी एंजॉय इट वेरी मच. बट बाद में ऐसा होता है कि वो नहीं, फिर 2 घंटे के बाद में भी हमको लगता है 3 घंटे भी होना चाहिए, तो हम तीसरा घंटा भी स्पेंड करते हैं. इसी तरह से हमारा इंटरनेट यूज बढ़ता जाता है और हम एडिक्शन के चक्कर में आ जाते हैं. लॉस ऑफ कंट्रोल. हमको पता होता है कि ये बराबर नहीं है. वी शुड नॉट बी यूजिंग इंटरनेट सो मच. We know it is impacting our life, but still, despite of knowing consequences, we use it. Again, we can equate to substance addiction or the alcoholic addiction. वो लोगों को सबको पता है. मेरे ख्याल से सब्सटेंस एडिक्शन खराब है, ये बताने के लिए कोई ज्यादा साइंस की जरूरत नहीं, सबको पता है. इसके होने के बावजूद, डिस्पाइट नोइंग द कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस, पीपल एंड अप यूजिंग इट और कंज्यूमिंग इट. और इंटरनेट एडिक्शन में भी वही सिम्टम है. व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू टेल यू फ्रेंड्स इज दैट द ब्रेन mechanism is exactly same. The impact on the brain, be it alcoholic addiction, be it tobacco addiction, be it substance addiction, or be it cyber addiction or internet addiction, the impact on the brain is same, and that's why you are seeing the same symptoms outside. uh, there could be health problems, there could be social isolation, preoccupation with the internet. That means when you are, especially people, those who play the games, they must have experienced this. When they are not playing the game, they will still think about, what they did in the game last time, and they will think about the game. And one of the thread of their computer brain, it will always be busy playing some game, virtual, or the thinking about the game. So these are all the symptoms, and that's why we should not take internet addiction lightly, because it is impacting our health, it is impacting our it is impacting our studies, and we should not be taking it lightly. uh, then we go to the next step. So when I say that this is impacting the brain, how does it happen? The changes in the brain, and this slide will is a very important slide, and it will show you how that happens. तो पहला होता है कि जैसे भी हम लोग, लेट्स थिंक ऑफ इन टर्म्स ऑफ अल्कोहल फॉर एग्जांपल. जब लोग अल्कोहल लेते हैं तो दे फील गुड, दे फील वेरी लाइट एंड देयर इज अ गुड फीलिंग टाइम बीइंग. तो वो क्या होता है, तो दैट इज बिकॉज देर इज अ intense dose of dopamine in the brain. Because of the chemical that is consumed, there is an intense release of certain hormones in the brain, which makes you feel good, feel happy, feel very light. इंटरनेट में भी वही है. व्हेन वी आर ऑन द सोशल मीडिया, व्हेन वी आर ऑन द इंटरनेट प्लेइंग द वीडियो गेम, it gives us a shot of the dopamine in the brain. Dopamine is the hormone which gives us the feeling of being happy. So वह पहला स्टेज है. अब दूसरे स्टेज में क्या होता है कि जैसे भी डोपामाइन का शॉट ब्रेन में आ जाता है, तब ब्रेन, क्योंकि ब्रेन का खुद का भी एक फंक्शन होता है डोपामाइन को रिलीज करना, तो ब्रेन सोचता है कि भाई ये बाहर से आ रहा है तो मुझे क्यों जरूरत, मुझे कुछ अभी ज्यादा रिलीज करने की जरूरत नहीं. तो ब्रेन अपने आप उसका कॉम्पेंसेट करता है बाय लिमिटिंग इट्स नेचुरल प्रोडक्शन ऑफ द डोपामाइन. तो ये दूसरा स्टेज होता है. तीसरा स्टेज में, देन व्हेन यू स्टॉप मेकिंग यूज ऑफ इंटरनेट और अल्कोहलिक एडिक्शन के बारे में अगर हम सोचेंगे तो व्हेन समबडी स्टॉप्स कंज्यूमिंग द अल्कोहल, तो ब्रेन ने तो अपना डोपामाइन रिलीज करना बंद कर दिया है, तो सडनली देयर इज अ शॉर्टेज ऑफ डोपामाइन इन द ब्रेन. इंटरनेट में भी वही होता है कि हमने जब तक हम इस्तेमाल करते हैं इंटरनेट, तब तक वो वी कीप ऑन गेटिंग डोपामाइन शॉट्स, इंटेंस शॉट्स इन द ब्रेन. बट व्हेन वी स्टॉप making use of internet, especially the entertainment through internet, then there is a deficiency of dopamine in the brain, and that is exactly the withdrawal symptom. That means because of that feeling, the brain will demand you कि भाई मेरे को तो चाहिए अभी, आपने जो लाया था लास्ट टाइम वो मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा, वो लाइए दोबारा. And then we end up in making use of more internet use, and then this cycle again, when you go on internet back because of the demand from the brain, again ये पहले स्टेज पे आप आ जाते हो, अगेन एक डोपामाइन का शॉट आ जाता है, तो टेम्परली अच्छा लगता है. बट इन द होल प्रोसेस ब्रेन का जो डोपामाइन नेचुरल प्रोसेस से प्रोडक्शन होना है वो बंद हो जाता है. एंड दिस साइकिल गोज ऑन एंड ऑन एंड ऑन, एंड दैट इज एग्जैक्टली मेकिंग the changes in your brain. Guys, this is very serious, and that's why, though I know it is very difficult to get rid of internet addiction, we should all resolve to get rid of that, because we should not be allowing our brain to undergo these changes, because they will not take you anywhere in the life. With those harmful changes of the brain, they will not really take you anywhere in the life. It will impact your studies, it will impact every part of your life, including the relationships and everything. So take it seriously. We are going to see how to get rid of that, but this is the brain picture which shows that this is the basal ganglia. This is the part of the brain which is responsible for the rewards. So the dopamine shot that we get is here, and this is where we feel the shortage of the dopamine, and it gives a signal to the brain saying I want more and more. This is the prefrontal cortex that I talked about, which actually helps us to control our emotions, to control overall. But as I mentioned, in the age that you are in, this is not really developed very well, and it completes its development by the age of 22 and 25. And this is the age, that's why you all are vulnerable for internet addiction and even other addictions also. So you will have to understand that unless you take some extra precautions, you are not going to save yourself from these attacks or from these addictions. So there are some personality traits that I have found. So if you are risk taker, if you are too much conscious, and if you are impulsive, then it is observed that those people are victims of the addiction quite often than others. I hope these are clear. I will just take a pause to see if there is any question. So again, the representatives of the students, feel free to raise the question. We can take one or two questions from time to time, and we'll continue marching ahead. But I don't mind taking if there is any question to you. Uh, okay, so if I see any question, I will answer that. But otherwise, I will continue. So then the question is, how do we really get rid of this internet addiction? And okay, let me see. I'm seeing some. Any question from anyone? Okay.
Sir, one
Uh,
student posted one question.
yeah.
Suhani, how should we keep
How should
positive
we keep
attitude?
positive attitude? Yeah. So this is a bit broad question, and I will definitely come to that. How should we keep positive attitude? Because this is a question related to psychology in general, and the test that I have, mind wellness test, it is called as, which was given to you, I guess. And if not, I'm going to give the link to you. It measures your positivity. क्योंकि हम लोग बात करते हैं कि यार मैं तो बहुत पॉजिटिव आदमी हूँ, लेकिन कितने हो? 50, 60, 70, कितने हो? तो उसका जो ऑब्जेक्टिव और साइंटिफिक मेजरमेंट है वो टेस्ट के जरिए होता है। और वो करने के लिए आई थिंक सुहानी, द बेस्ट पार्ट इज इस सेशन में जो पार्ट टू है, that is where we are going to focus on how should we think correctly, because पॉजिटिव एटीट्यूड होता है या नहीं होता है वो इसीलिए होता है क्योंकि हमारा थिंकिंग कैसे होता है उसके ऊपर वो डिपेंडेंट है। तो अगर हम पॉजिटिव थिंकिंग नहीं कर रहे हैं तो इसका मतलब हमारा जो थिंकिंग प्रोसेस है वो इनकरेक्ट है। अब वो इनकरेक्ट थिंकिंग प्रोसेस को करेक्ट कैसे करना है, इसके बारे में एक रैशनल थिंकिंग का एक सेशन है जो फॉर्चुनेटली इसी सेशन में है। तो पहले हम इंटरनेट एडिक्शन के ऊपर और कुछ मेरे ख्याल से एक 10 मिनट 15 मिनट हम स्पेंड करेंगे, और उसके बाद में हम थिंकिंग प्रोसेस पे जाने वाले हैं। तब आप इस सवाल का जवाब पाओगे। ओके, देयर इज वन मोर क्वेश्चन from student. Although I understand internet is taking my time, I am unable to control it. And how can I achieve it? Exactly, you are spot on, my dear friend. And this is where I'm here in the session. Approaches to treat the cyber addiction. So how do we treat that? तो मेरा you know मेरा एक आदत बोलो या मेरा एक पैशन है, like those scientists who have discovered something for the world, I really like to go and watch their videos, and I really like to watch them first hand. तो ये जो आप पिक्चर यहाँ पे देख रहे हैं डॉक्टर यंग करके, शी इज द लेडी हु डिस्कवर्ड इंटरनेट एडिक्शन। क्योंकि पहले ये लोगों को पता ही नहीं था, नो, इंटरनेट एडिक्शन एक मॉन्स्टर है जो सडनली हमारे वर्ल्ड में आ गया है। और जैसे कोरोना में हुआ था, वी वेर कॉट अनअवेयर। हमको पता ही नहीं था कि ये क्या है, इसका इलाज क्या होता है, इसको कैसे कैसे हम लोग रिजॉल्व करें। सेम हैज हैपेंड विथ इंटरनेट एडिक्शन। ये सडनली इतना बड़ा बड़ा मॉन्स्टर हमारे सामने आया हुआ है, हम लोगों को किसी को पहले तो ये पता ही नहीं कि ये आया हुआ है, एंड हाउ मच इट हैज taken grip over our life. We are not even able to judge that. So we are all caught unaware because हम लोग, आप स्टूडेंट हो तो आपके पेरेंट्स, रिलेटिव्स, टीचर्स, we all are, including your speaker of this session, we all are caught unaware and it has taken grip on us. So that is the first thing. Secondly, there, तो ये 5-6 साल पहले डॉक्टर यंग ने इसको डिस्कवर किया कि अगर ये सिम्टम्स होते हैं तो इसका मतलब हमारा ब्रेन इम्पैक्ट हो जाता है। और इसके बाद में एक DSM करके एक मैनुअल होता है साइकोलॉजी का। तो साइकोलॉजी के जितने भी डिसऑर्डर्स है, डिसीजेस एंड डिसऑर्डर्स, उसको सबको वहां पे लिस्ट किया हुआ है। दैट इज कॉल्ड एज अ DSM। इट इज अ मैनुअल विच इज रेफर्ड बाय ऑल ओवर द वर्ल्ड। तो उसमें इंटरनेट एडिक्शन को शामिल किया गया। Okay, so this is, you can also type Dr. Young later and you go on YouTube and watch to her. तो आई वॉज जस्ट क्यूरियस कि वो क्या कहती है कि हाउ डू वी रियली गेट रीड ऑफ इंटरनेट एडिक्शन। तो उनका जो है वो दो दो चीजें उन्होंने बताई हुई है, मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ। सो फर्स्ट इज डिजिटल डाइट। इनफैक्ट she has equated this to our diet. When we want to reduce our weight, what do? We eat less, correct? The diet. Same way we have to do here. We have to consume internet less. स्क्रीन टाइम कम करना है, नंबर वन। नंबर टू इज, हम लोग डाइट जब करते हैं, वेट रिडक्शन करते हैं, तो क्या करते हैं कि जो भी खाना हम खाते हैं वो न्यूट्रिशियस खाते हैं। सेम वे इन द इंटरनेट ऑल्सो, whatever you will consume internet for, you will consume it for the nutritious purpose, means अच्छे पर्पस के लिए, नॉलेज एक्विजिशन पर्पस के लिए आप इंटरनेट इस्तेमाल करोगे, तो वो आपको इंटरनेट एडिक्शन नहीं देगा। सी आई एम जस्ट टेलिंग यू कि इसको आप ठीक तरह से जान लो। ये जो मैकेनिज्म है, ये मैकेनिज्म में जो पहला जो स्टेज है उसमें डोपामाइन शॉट मिलता है ब्रेन में, दैट वाज द फर्स्ट स्टेज। तो मैं आपका एक मिसअंडरस्टैंडिंग जो है वो रिमूव करना चाहता हूँ कि जो आप स्टडी पर्पस के लिए इंटरनेट इस्तेमाल करते हैं या कुछ नॉलेज पर्पस के लिए इस्तेमाल करते हैं, उससे इंटरनेट एडिक्शन नहीं होता। द नॉलेज एक्विजिशन थ्रू इंटरनेट इज नॉट एंड विल नेवर रिजल्ट इनटू इंटरनेट एडिक्शन, बिकॉज द फर्स्ट स्टेप इज मिसिंग देयर। आपने कोई समझो कि एक स्पिरिचुअल गुरु है, उसका आपने इंटरनेट पे जाके आपने लेक्चर सुना, वो आपको ये डोपामाइन शॉट नहीं देने वाला है। अगर आप वीडियो गेम खेलोगे तो ये मिलेगा, क्योंकि वो जो प्लेजर का लेवल होता है वो अलग होता है। आप कोई वीडियोस इस तरह से देखोगे जिसमें बहुत ज्यादा है, तो देन दे आर गोइंग टू गिव यू द डोपामाइन शॉट। तो द कंक्लूजन इज दैट when you are using internet for the knowledge purpose, like you inspirational talks होते हैं, motivational talks होते हैं, कुछ अच्छे लोगों के interviews होते हैं। I will also search for whether Dr. Young has been interviewed any time, by any American journalist. I would really like to watch that video, and if I spend 5-6 hours in that kind of a use of internet, it is not, and it is never impact me in terms of the changes in the brain. Same way the digital diet, that means I have to reduce the time overall as much as possible. And again we are talking about the entertainment part of it. Social media, it is giving us entertainment, video games, everything whatever is other than your studies, they are responsible for the dopamine shots. So you have to reduce them. In fact, आपको अगर पता है तो आजकल रिहेबिलिटेशन सेंटर्स होते हैं, ड्रग्स के भी होते हैं, अल्कोहल के भी होते हैं, और साइबर एडिक्शन के भी होते हैं। तो वो रिहेबिलिटेशन सेंटर्स में डिटॉक्सिकेशन किया जाता है। दैट मीन्स फॉर 20 to 30 days you are completely banned from consuming whatever addiction you have. If you are internet addiction, then you are completely disconnected from the internet. So उससे जो ब्रेन में जो चेंजेस, अगेन पॉजिटिव चेंजेस होते हैं, they are helpful to you to bring your brain back to normal. But you have to make sure that later on again you don't go back, because एडिक्शन में ये प्रॉब्लम है। मैंने काफी लेक्चर्स इसके ऊपर सुने हुए। जो सब्सटेंस एडिक्शन में भी ऐसा ही होता है कि विथ लॉट ऑफ एफर्ट्स डॉक्टर्स, साइकेट्रिस्ट एंड पेरेंट्स स्टूडेंट्स को उससे बाहर निकालते हैं, लेकिन कई बार वो दोबारा उसमें चले जाते हैं। तो सेम थिंग हैपेंस विद इंटरनेट एडिक्शन ऑल्सो। if you do the detoxification, if you really get rid of your screen time, make sure that you don't go back in that cycle. So that is very, very important. So these are the two very strong uh, alternatives or therapies for you to get rid of that. The third is a group therapy and support group activity. So group therapy is what exactly we are doing. I am talking to you as a part of group therapy, because I know none of you will come forward and say I want help, I want to go to counselor or psychiatrist for my addiction. Nobody will do that. I am well aware of that, and that's why the option is group therapy. That means we all sit together, And regardless of whether you have symptoms or you do not have symptom, we talk on this subject and we understand how can we safeguard ourselves from addiction. And the third thing is a support group activity. That means you all can form a support group, and this is extremely useful. This can happen among your friends, and you all can decide कि, okay, I will reduce my screen time by 2 hours in this week, whatever suits you, 1 hour, 2 hours, and you all resolve for that. And you have a common group where you once in a week over a cup of tea you come together and share your experiences, whether you are really able to do that. These things, they are done very well when you do in the group. So please form your groups. You have some resolution, maybe 2 friends, 3 friends, whatever you like. You come together and decide, okay, okay, let's reduce the time. And you share with your friends your progress or even your failure. That is also very important. You say at the end of the week, यार मैंने सोचा था यार मैं कम करूंगा लेकिन मैं नहीं कर पाया, या ऑन द कॉन्ट्री मैंने ज्यादा ही इस्तेमाल किया. लेट्स बी वेरी ऑनेस्ट, अपने फ्रेंड्स ही है, फ्रेंड्स के साथ ओपन होने में कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. तो that way, there is a indirect binding on you somewhere to stick to your goal. चलो ये वीक नहीं हुआ, नेक्स्ट वीक करते हैं. इस तरह से आप इससे बाहर हो सकते हो, तो आपका स्क्रीन टाइम आप कम कर सकते हो. सेकेंडली, यू नो डिजिटल डाइट में हमने बोला था कि हमको कम करना है, तो एक ये अपनी आदत रहती है कि वी चेक आवर सेल फोन वेरी ऑफन. कई बार ऐसा होता है कि घर में गेस्ट आते हैं. That is the time when we are not supposed to make use of our phone because we are supposed to attend to them. But हमें strong urge आ जाती है कि मैं फोन जेब से निकाल दूं और चेक करूं. तो इसके ऊपर कुछ कंट्रोल करना चाहिए. तो मेरे ख्याल से हम लोग अगेन अपना गोल रखें कि भाई मैं घंटे में एक ही बार चेक करूंगा, दैट्स ऑल. अब मेरा चेक हुआ है तो मैं अभी समझो इट्स 5:30, आई हैव चेक माई फोन वंस. I am not going to, whatever it may happen, I am not going to check my phone till next 1 hour, 6:30. Make these kind of resolutions. And there are a lot of apps these days, a lot of apps you can make use of those apps also to reduce your screen time, because they will tell you how many times you check your phone. It's a very nice measurement. So you can use that, and that way you can get rid of it. The other one that, and I'm coming to Swani's question on how to be positive thinking and how to correct the thinking, because it was observed, and I work with a lot of psychiatrists, and they tell me that in today's generation, many of the psychological disorders are because of their incorrect way of thinking. So that's why you will see here thought correction. So if there are any underlying anxieties, then we should resolve them, because they will make you restless, and just to as a part of distress, you may go on internet and probably take that dopamine shot. So if there is an underlying anxiety or depressive thoughts, loneliness, any personality issues, only counselors can, psychologists can understand them. Our test, the mind wellness test which was given to you, will also help you identify those symptoms. But then the next step is to go to psychiatrist or psychologist. I know there is a lot of stigma, but guys, today's world is a different world. So I don't think we should be really shy of going to psychiatrist or psychologist. In fact, मेरे कुछ फ्रेंड्स यूके में रहते हैं, तो वो कहते हैं कि वहाँ तो ऐसा है कि वहाँ पे पीपल आर वेरी वेरी प्रोएक्टिव. इनफैक्ट लोग आगे इतने आगे आ जाते हैं कि बताने के लिए कि मुझे साइकेट्रिस्ट की जरूरत है, कि पहले उनका ये स्क्रीनिंग करना पड़ता है कि उनको सच में जरूरत है या वो ऐसे ही बता रहे हैं. तो देर आर डिफरेंट कल्चर्स, एंड आई नो इंडियन कल्चर इज लाइक शाइंग अवे फ्रॉम साइकोलॉजिस्ट. एंड लेकिन मेरे ख्याल से ये कफ कोल्ड होना इतना सिंपल है. मतलब अगर हमारा शरीर बीमार पड़ सकता है तो मन भी बीमार पड़ सकता है, और वो टेम्पररी फेज होता है. अगर उसको हमने अटेंड नहीं किया तो उसका जो इम्पैक्ट अपने करियर पे है वो ज्यादा है. with unsound mind, you cannot run marathon of your life and career. So that's why it is important to attend that. So let's come to the thought correction. तो मेरे जो साइकेट्रिस्ट फ्रेंड्स है, वो मुझे बताते हैं कि ये इनकरेक्ट वे ऑफ थिंकिंग की वजह से डिप्रेशन भी आता है, एंजाइटी भी आ जाती है, और उसी की वजह से काफी लोग इंटरनेट एडिक्शन के भी विक्टिम्स हो रहे हैं। तो ये थॉट करेक्शन के ऊपर हम थोड़ा भी जाते हैं, तो मेरे ख्याल से ये एक एक्टिविटी है, आप ये कर सकते हो आज, अभी अभी कभी करना नहीं है। यू कैन फॉर्म द ग्रुप्स एंड डिसाइड द गोल कि हम लोग ये वीक में 1 घंटा कम करेंगे, 2 घंटा कम करेंगे। फोन बार बार चेक करने की जो आदत है उसको हम कुछ कंट्रोल करेंगे। ये आपको करना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि ये जब तक आप खुद नहीं करते तब तक आपका एडिक्शन जाने वाला नहीं है। एंड जो आपका सक्सेस है कि भाई मैंने 10 घंटे था उससे मैं 6 घंटे पे आया हूं, आप लोगों के साथ शेयर करो। इससे बाकी लोगों को भी मोटिवेशन मिल जाएगा, उनको भी इंस्पिरेशन मिल जाएगा। और जब when I am you know when I am declaring to the world that I have reduced my time, it automatically puts some subconscious pressure on me to not make use of it। तो ये सारी चीजें हैं जो आप you can make use of that। आई थिंक मेरे ख्याल से अब क्वेश्चंस, अगर एक आधा क्वेश्चन है तो मैं ले लूंगा, अदरवाइज आई विल जस्ट गो टू द नेक्स्ट टॉपिक। एंड but before that, I will just once again see if there is any question. I hope I have I have answered your some of the questions which were asked earlier. But yeah, if you still have any question, we can take one or two those questions, and then we will go to the next topic. So, any question on how to get rid of internet addiction? No? Okay. So, if you have any, feel free to type into the chat box. I will go to the next topic, which is incorrect thinking process. I'll just check once again if there is a question. There is no. Okay, so let's go to the other topic that we have, which I'm calling as a rational emotive behavior therapy, REBT. But it is essentially the correct way of thinking. Rational means correct. So it tells us how do we really think correctly. And this is a person again who discovered this for the world. Albert Ellis is a very famous psychiatrist. In fact, this RABT is it is known by his name. So we should really be thankful to him that he discovered it for us. So this is like a life skill, guys. So not only for internet addiction, but yeah, it also takes care of our other disorders like depression, anxiety, and social anxiety, and so on. But it is a very good life skill, and it will help you being very happy and think correctly, because most of the time our incorrect thinking also leads to incorrect decisions, and incorrect decisions lead to consequences. So that's why it is important, and we are going to see that now. How does it happen? Okay, before that, now again I'm talking for the last 1 hour, almost one way around. So I would just like to ask a question, and this is not a very serious question, so don't be very serious about it. It's a very light question. What do you think by looking at this picture? Okay, now I want some answers in the chat box from the class representatives. It is a very simple question, guys. Just don't be shy. What do you think by looking at this picture? And there are hundreds of possibilities. So anything you type is not going to be wrong. Uh, and even if it is wrong, there is in fact nothing right and wrong. The question is about what comes to our mind first when we look at this picture. Okay, somebody has been there. So again, Suhani, thank you for typing and breaking the ice, and I hope other your colleagues will also or your friends will also follow the suit. So she's saying a happy man. Yes, I mean, if I look at him, he seems to be a happy person, calm and quiet. Anyone else want to add to this by looking at it? What comes to your mind? uh, Look at I would say his uniform, and then what comes to your mind? So let me give you some more hints to. So what comes to your mind? He is not a well-known personality, so don't go in that direction. Uh, Friends, bit more, be more responsive. Uh, this is not a very difficult question. So just type out something in the chat box. I just need some more responses. Like what comes to your mind? 2317 Raj Dalvi. I'm just reading a name here, just now joined. So I don't know why you joined late, but you can take this. Yes, just let us know what do you think by looking at this picture. Uh, it's a simple question, nothing very difficult. Anyone wants to add to this? Maybe from the staff side, I want some help. Like, what comes to our mind from when we look at this picture? So I think we just certainly need more interaction, because otherwise, this session will become very one-way channel and very boring. So can someone help me with more thoughts? Uh, from the faculties and staff, can someone help me with some responses, like what comes to your mind uh, by looking at this picture? I guess it is not so difficult. Okay, so to me, I think what comes to my mind is he is a disciplined person, because if you look at his uniform, you will realize that it's a police, or some people may think about him as a forest officer or a disciplined person. So obviously, when we look at police, we are reminded about the discipline. Uh, then secondly, because of his appearance, some people remember Virappan. If you know him, so that is another thought that comes to mind. So there are always some thoughts in our mind. So those who have not replied earlier, now they can help me at least on this second picture. So what do you think about this second picture? This is like advocate, we are saying. So when you see a advocate, what do you think? What comes to your mind? Advocate means, okay, court, high court, supreme court, those kind of courts. What are the other thoughts that come to your mind? uh, Maybe law and order. uh, Guys, come on, write something in the chat box. Let's be, I should know that you are attending to this lecture and not really paying attention somewhere else. So I need some responses from you. What do you think? And the session, I must tell you, warn you that this session has got a lot of interaction, because we are all talking about thoughts, and we should be really putting our thoughts, then only we can understand this. Yeah, thank you, Sachin, sir. Equality, correct. So yeah, the law and order is for giving us the justice, and for maintaining the equality. Some people also think of, like, सच एंड झूठ, या सच का झूठ करने वाला, या झूठ का सच करने वाला. Some people think something else. So these are all mental models. Okay, the reason why I'm showing this to you is because these are our mental models. I remember I had taken one session, innovation session. In that also I had shown this slide, because even in innovation also we said that we should break our mental models. There is one more thought here from Shriya, saying my best friend is advocate and he is now doing PhD. Great. So I'm sure, Shreya, when you see this picture, you must be thinking of some brilliant person, a studious person, and so on. The message I want to give you here is that from our childhood, we start building these mental models, or what is called as the belief systems, which we are going to see in the next slide. And those are basically about the people, about the institutes. Let's say modern college, you will have some thoughts. I know you will not tell those thoughts here, but you may have some thoughts, like either very well disciplined or too much disciplined, orthodox, unorthodox, something, about the institutes. Every aspect of the life, you have some thoughts, and those are our belief systems. And this is where we are, on this slide. If you look at how do we make use of our belief system, so this slide is very important, and it will tell you how do we think. So let's understand this a little bit. A, B, C, and D. Let's only focus on A, B, C, D for now, or A, B, C only. So A is an activating event. That means there is some event that has happened. Now, after looking at that activating event, or that activating event becomes a trigger, and there is a belief system in our brain. So activating event gives the trigger, and based on the belief system, the thoughts come to our mind. So this is A and B. I showed you the picture of a policeman, and based on your belief system, the thoughts came to your mind. It could be discipline, it could be virappan, it could be corruption, it could be anything. But those thoughts are based on our belief systems. And what is this belief system? We said we build it from our childhood, and these are our strong beliefs, deep beliefs about ourselves, that is me, others, institutes, God, religion, superstitions, rules, myths, what works, what does not work. There are hundreds and hundreds of belief systems that are embedded in our brain, embedded in our mind. And when we see something, the thoughts come based on our belief system. So if this belief system is incorrect, the thoughts will be incorrect. If this belief system is correct, then the thoughts will be correct. Now, based on our thoughts, the emotions are generated. The emotions are created based on our thoughts. And we are going to see the example that will clarify everything to you. And based on our emotions, we have certain behaviors, because we behave based on our emotions. If our emotions are of angry, then we will act angrily. Okay. And based on our behavior, there are consequences. Let us pause here. The dispute and effectiveness we'll see later. We have activating event, we have thoughts based on the belief system. Depending on the thoughts, the emotions get created, and based on the emotions, we behave, and our behavior has consequences. Let us see how does that happen by taking an example. So this is an example where you are you are here on the one side of the road. On the other side of the road, there is a friend of you who is talking on phone, and he's walking in this direction. So you are on this side of the road, and आप उसको देखते हैं, फिर आप उसको हाथ दिखाते हो कि हाय, आई एम हियर, लेकिन वो आपकी तरफ देखता नहीं है और आगे चला जाता है. He doesn't look at you, he just continues talking on phone and continue walking to this side. तो इसका, नाउ दिस इज अ एक्टिवेटिंग इवेंट. अभी देखते हैं कि इससे क्या क्या हो सकता है. अगर हमारे बिलीफ सिस्टम में अगर इस तरह का बिलीफ सिस्टम है, let me remind you, belief system is about you yourself as well as people around you, your parents, brothers, sisters, friends, teachers, everyone. तो अगर आपके बिलीफ सिस्टम में अगर ये है कि ही इज सो रूड, आपको पहले से ही अगर इस तरह से आपका ओपिनियन है, तो आपके थॉट्स होंगे कि एंग्री के. सो यू विल हैव सेल्फ टॉक, यार वो इसी तरह का है, वो बहुत ही रूड आदमी है, मुझे पता था वो बहुत ही रूड है. बिकॉज these are the thoughts because of your belief system. अच्छा, उससे इमोशंस क्या होती है? एंग्रीनेस की. You get angry, your reaction to those thoughts is angry, you become angry. उससे आपका बिहेवियर क्या होता है? You will stop talking to him then onwards. करेक्ट. और उसके कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस क्या होंगे? कि आपकी फ्रेंडशिप उसके साथ खत्म हो जाएगी. आपने ये एक साइकिल देखा। अब अब वही एक्टिविटी इवेंट है, लेकिन दूसरा डीप थॉट है या बिलीफ सिस्टम अलग है। आपको आपके खुद के बारे में अगर समझो कि ये बिलीफ है कि यार आई एम नॉट लाइक्ड बाय एनीवन, अगर उस तरह की बिलीफ सिस्टम है तो ये थॉट आ जाएगा कि माय फ्रेंड डज नॉट लाइक मी। ओके, शायद आपको लगता है कि आप किसी को अच्छे नहीं लगते, तो आपका थॉट ये रहेगा कि माय फ्रेंड डज नॉट लाइक मी। उससे आपका इमोशंस क्या होगा? सैड सैड इमोशंस होंगे आपके। आपका माइंड सैडनेस से भर जाएगा। आपको एक रिजेक्शन की फीलिंग आ जाएगी उसी इवेंट से। एंड उसका आपका बिहेवियर होगा कि यू विल स्टार्ट आइसोलेटिंग यूर सेल्फ फ्रॉम अदर्स। ओके, उससे कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस क्या होंगे कि आप लोनली हो जाओगे, और उससे हो सकता है और कुछ कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस हो। आपको डिप्रेशन आ जाएगा, एंग्जाइटी आ जाएगा, जो भी है। अब तीसरा थॉट ये हो सकता है, बिलीफ सिस्टम आपकी अगर इस तरह से है कि हैव आई डन समथिंग टू हिम। अगर आपको समझो कि पहले से ही आपका एंशियसनेस है, तो आपको इस तरह से भी थॉट आ सकते हैं कि हैव आई डन समथिंग रॉन्ग टू हिम, व्हाई डिड ही नॉट talk to me, why did he not look at me? He saw me but he went ahead, maybe because I have done something wrong to him and he's upset with me. Now that makes you very very anxious and worried, and the result is, so these are emotions, and the behavior is you keep on thinking about it, and that is a overthinking behavior that happens, which again sometimes leads to your anxiousness and anxiety as a disorder. अब ये सारे नेगेटिव थॉट्स है, दीज आर ऑल नेगेटिव थॉट्स बिकॉज योर बिलीफ सिस्टम was negative. I'm just answering the question again कि why do we think positive, why do we think negative? Because of our belief system. Now एक इस तरह का भी बिलीफ सिस्टम हो सकता है कि I guess he did not notice me, शायद उसने मेरी तरफ देखा ही नहीं, क्योंकि वो अपने आप में कुछ बात कर रहा था, उसने मुझे देखा ही नहीं, इसलिए उसने मुझे रिस्पॉन्ड नहीं किया। क्वाइट पॉसिबल, करेक्ट। उससे क्या होगा? इमोशंस ज्यादा कुछ नहीं है कि माइल्ड डिसअपॉइंटमेंट हो जाती है आपकी कि यार वो अगर देखता तो अच्छा रहता, हम लोग चाय पीते, गप्पे करते, अच्छा रहता, नथिंग मच, बट थोड़ा डिसअपॉइंटमेंट हो ही जाता। इससे भी और एक पॉजिटिव हो सकता है थॉट आपका कि यार ऐसा तो नहीं कि वो किसी मुश्किल में है। अगर आपका नेचर, अगर आपका बिलीफ सिस्टम है सबके बारे में अच्छी सोच रखना, अच्छे विचार रखना, और आपका नेचर है, बाय नेचर यू आर हेल्पिंग अदर्स, अगर ये आपका नेचर है और आपका एक ये पॉजिटिव थिंकिंग है कि ऐसा कभी नहीं होता है कि लोग हमारे बारे में बुरा सोचते हैं या वो रूड नहीं है, अगर इस तरह के आपके बिलीफ सिस्टम है, तो आपका थॉट ये रहेगा कि ही डज probably he maybe in some difficult situation, यूजुअली वो कभी ऐसा करता नहीं है, इज ही ऑल राइट, ऐसा तो नहीं कि वो किसी मुश्किल में है। अब उससे इमोशंस क्या होंगे? उसके बारे में लव होगा, कंसर्न होगा, रहेगा, ये आपके इमोशंस होंगे। और उसका बिहेवियर आपका क्या रहेगा? बिहेवियर ये रहेगा कि शायद आप खुद उसको फोन करेंगे कि क्या मैंने देखा आपको, आप जा रहे थे, आपने देखा नहीं क्या, सब कुछ ठीक है ना? आपका ये कंसर्न उसके बारे में देख के ही विल फील वेरी गुड अबाउट यू, एंड इससे कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस क्या हो जाएंगे कि आपकी फ्रेंडशिप और ज्यादा गहरी हो जाएगी, और ज्यादा बेटर रहेगी। तो आपने देखा कि इसमें 5 अलग अलग तरह के बिलीफ सिस्टम्स है, 5 अलग अलग तरह के थॉट्स है, और 5 अलग अलग तरह के इमोशंस है, और उसके बिहेवियर्स अलग होते हैं, कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस अलग होते हैं। तो हमें हमारी बिलीफ सिस्टम के ऊपर काम करना है। अगर हमें पॉजिटिव थिंकिंग करना है, अगर हमें सही करेक्ट वे ऑफ थिंकिंग करना है, तो हमें अपनी करेक्ट थिंकिंग सिस्टम को करेक्ट करना पड़ेगा। तो ये एक एक्टिविटी है, मैं आपको 1-2 मिनट देने वाला हूं कि आइडेंटिफाई योर बिलीफ सिस्टम्स। क्या क्या हमारे बिलीफ सिस्टम्स है? पहले हम बिलीफ सिस्टम मतलब क्या है उसके बारे में तो जान लेते हैं। हो सकता है आप, आई मे आस्क यू कि भाई मॉडर्न कॉलेज के बारे में आपके क्या बिलीफ्स है, आपके खुद के बारे में क्या है, या तो किसी सेलिब्रिटी के बारे में क्या थॉट्स है आपके। ये सारे बिलीफ सिस्टम्स होते हैं। या तो कोई रूल होता है अपना कि भाई जैसे कि लड़कियों के कपड़े पहनने के बारे में काफी सारे रूल्स हमने अपने आप बनाए होते। आई एम जस्ट गिविंग एग्जांपल कि या इस तरह के कपड़े पहनते हैं मतलब उसको हम जज करते हैं। ये जो जज करना होता है वो बिलीफ सिस्टम के थ्रू आता है। तो हमारे बिलीफ सिस्टम्स क्या है, कुछ अच्छे होंगे कुछ बुरे होंगे। आई जस्ट वांट यू टू टेक अ मिनट and identify your belief systems, and if you can type again in the chat box nothing like it, I will really love that, because उसमें right wrong कुछ नहीं है। we are all, देखो हम लोग 5 साल से साइकोलॉजी पढ़ नहीं रहे, तो it is quite natural that we may catch some of the belief systems which may be correct which may not be correct। उसको हम कितना स्मार्टली आइडेंटिफाई करते हैं उसके ऊपर है कि हमारी इसके बाद में का जो हमारा जर्नी है वो कैसे रहने वाला है। हाउ मच वी आर एबल टू करेक्ट आवर थॉट्स depend on how much you are able to correctly identify that। Okay, so I will keep quiet for a minute and you all can write down in your notepad wherever you want, some of your belief systems. And if you can identify the incorrect belief systems, that will be great, because that is a beginning of our journey towards correct way of thinking. Think about every aspect of the life, people, events, organization, institutes, everything. Okay, anyone who can type in the chat box? I just want some interaction, as I mentioned. Can I get some help from you guys? Anything that you could identify, anything. I don't think there is much in right and wrong, but can I get something? Belief system. I just want to know. I want to make sure. Yeah, correct. I'm here. I am a good person. It's always good to you know uh, think good about ourselves. So it is always good. I am a good person is a belief system, and if you think that way, then that's a great thing. Anything else about something that is around you? Any rule? Okay, so I will probably not spend much time waiting for your responses, but then you do this activity now, and I hope you will be able to help me in. So this is the activating here, this activity tool here. Activating event is given on the left hand side, and I think I don't need to explain that. Uh, but you all must have seen this. Like someone make a proposal to a girl, a boy makes a proposal to the girl for the relationship, and she turns it down. She rejects it. Now this is an activating event. Now what we have to find out, and depending on the belief system of that boy, he will have different thoughts. So what will he think? What are the different possibilities of his thinking based on his belief system? Then based on those thoughts, what will be those emotions? Based on the emotions, what will be his behavior? And based on the behavior, what will be the consequences? I will give you 1 minute to think about different possible thoughts, emotions, behavior, and consequences. It's a very simple one. But please come forward and help me, drive this session further. If it comes from you, it will be great. So let me go back to my chat box of the call. Okay, anyone? You can tell one thought. We ourselves will derive what emotions and behavior and all that. Let's at least you help me in identifying what are the different thoughts that come to his mind. Anyone? Come on. 2249 Kalpesh Patode. I'm going to take the names because no one is typing. I'll take the name. Kalpesh, can you help me? And I assure you there is nothing right, nothing wrong, guys. Help happiness, Kriti. You need to explain this. His proposal has been rejected. And are you saying his thoughts will be happiness? I think he will feel relieved. I can agree to one point that he will feel relieved because many times they think so much about that particular event that there is a lot of tension, anxiety, and when it happens, even if it gets concluded negatively, I think he will get sad. But there is one thought, and as I mentioned, nothing right, nothing wrong. One way of thinking could be that he will be happy. चलो हो तो गया जो भी है पता तो मुझे चला मैं अपना अपना रास्ता भी नाप लेता हूँ और कोई anyone else want to help me? What are the thoughts when his proposal get rejected? वेरी सिंपल यार आई डोंट थिंक इट इज सो कल्पेश आपको मैं छोड़ूंगा नहीं आप मुझे बताओ क्या क्या थॉट्स होंगे कुछ तो बताओ यार बहुत डिफिकल्ट क्वेश्चन नहीं पूछा है मैंने आई एम ऑल्सो सी वन नेम उत्कर्ष उत्कर्ष आप मुझे हेल्प करेंगे ओके तो अभी हमारे पास टाइम ज़्यादा नहीं है तो आई थिंक आई विल हैव टू गो बैक टू द स्लाइड. So I think if you ask me, there are lots of possibilities. One possibility starts with kind of the belief system. If the belief system is that no one can say me no, okay, that could be a thought process. That could be belief system. If he has been groomed from the childhood saying, if I give a proposal, no one should say no to me, then that could be the thought that how can she say no to me. The emotion will be very angry because he has been hurt on that front, and the behavior you have seen in Sadashivpet of Pune what happened few months back, taking revenge. The behavior will be of taking revenge. The consequences will be, of course, he going behind the bars. So this is the extreme negative kind of a thought, behavior, and consequences. The other one could be the sadness. Of course there will be some sadness that uh, okay, how, if if this is so, why she was friendly with me, and some kind of misunderstanding and all that, some reactions temporarily and all that, but it goes down calm and becomes calm and quiet later on. The third one, which could be, I would say, better reaction and thoughts will be that okay, she has her right to saying yes or no to me. So the belief system is that everyone is independent and everyone has right to decide about their life. If that is a belief system, then the thought will not be negative. The thought will be okay, I tried my best, it did not work. The emotions will still be of some sadness and all that, but the behavior, most important, the behavior will not be very negative. It will be just saying goodbye and moving on and all that. Or it could be even that okay, it did not work out, fine, but we can always be good friends, and it goes on. So there are different ways of having our uh, belief systems, thoughts, and all that. So if you are thinking that your thoughts are troubling you, the first place that you should be focusing on is your belief system. If you correct that, then the production of thought that are happening, activating events will happen. They are going to happen. They are not in your control. And that reminds me of some, again, motivational speaker like Sister Shivani. I'm a great fan of her. You listen to her. She talks about this subject quite often. Uh, Belief system, and she always says that somebody insults you. Okay, you will say, I am angry because I'm very unhappy. I'm very sad because he behaved with me like that. But her hypothesis is that it is not he or she who makes you unhappy. It is your own belief system, it is your own thoughts which are in your control, but they make you unhappy. So if you are unhappy, they are because of your own reasons and not because of external reasons. That's a very great philosophy, and you please listen to her videos, and that will tell you how to think rationally. So this is self talk or image. So how do you identify your belief system? I think what you have to do is, whenever you are not feeling well, you should write down your self talk. And I also sometimes work as a counselor, and when people come to us, the first thing we will tell about them is whatever is bothering to them, they should write down the self talk. Because by looking at person, and even by looking at this activating event, I cannot make out what is bothering him or her. So the self talk will only tell me what exactly is the belief system. So you can also write down your belief system, and then we will see further again how to question our belief system and correct it. Same time, at the same time, you can also check your images. Suppose, okay, for example, I am thinking that I have. Uh, I'm just trying to think of some example where we decide about, uh, say, India should always win. There is a World Cup, and we have a thought. So then, let's say there is a event like cricket game, and we have lost it. That is the event. Okay, we have lost the match, and we are extremely unhappy. We are upset. I'm a great fan of cricket, so I am upset. Why? Because somewhere there is a belief system that we should always win. Okay, is that belief system correct? It is not. There is no single cricket team in the world which has won all the matches. Okay, so that's where exactly we have to probe and question our belief system. Okay, now again, the activity two is find your irrational beliefs leading to negative emotions. Now, this is very important. So, I would strongly request you to spend a minute and at least find out one irrational belief system that you have which makes you unhappy, which is giving you anxiety, which gives you depressive thoughts, or whatever. Take a minute and find out your one irrational belief system. I'll pause here. Okay. So I guess you have already thought about it, and again, my request will be to share something with me. I see some demandingness. Great, Vidya. I think that's a great stuff that you have put forward. Yes, demandingness. You, in fact, must be having some art of reading my slides remotely because the next slide is about the demandingness. Vidya, thank you very much for that. Sima ma'am, you have saying answer from. Acha, you are one of the student is saying self thought. I think about myself negatively like. मैं ही गलत मैंने ही गलत किया होगा. Yes, that is true. So if you know from our childhood sometimes our belief system happens that there is a what is called as the inferiority complex, or if there is a less of confidence with us, then we may think that I am wrong every time. Accident हो जाता है, हम लोग सोचते हैं यार मेरे से ही गलती हो गई. कुछ भी, anything that happens, our first thought in our mind is I only made a mistake. We are never aggressive, and that is because it's all because of one reason, and the reason is our belief system. Our belief system tells us that we are wrong. Correct. Excellent example. I really thank the student for putting it forward and sharing with us. So let's now look at some more stuff. So this exercise was very helpful. So there has been research, and I think, and this was done by a number of scientists and all that. And Albert Ellis has been, in fact, the pioneer in that. So he identified that when he studied millions of people and surveyed and all that through surveys and all that, so it was observed that there are, in fact, there are 10 to 12 thoughts that we all think incorrectly. So there are 10 to 12 commonly we make those mistakes in thinking. But among that, these are the four which are most common and which are most prominent. And let us look at them. We don't have time to, in fact, look at all the four also, but we will look at the one or two of them. So the first is demandingness. Demandingness means I insist that this must happen. uh, Perfectness, I must do this. That word must is very important. I think probably I'll go through this slide. So this is a demandingness slide. So the word must is at the center, and the examples are I must be always best on all fronts. The reality is that no one is like that. Okay, but our belief system somehow makes us think like that, and that puts a lot of pressure on us. That gives a lot of unhappiness in the life. I must be always appreciated by all. It's an incorrect thinking, because in fact the fact is what others think about us, first of all we don't have control about it, number one. But even to expect that everyone will always think good and appreciate about us is wrong, because they will think depending on their interest. मैं आपको एक 2 मिनट में छोटी सी कहानी सुनाता हूँ. स्टोरी अच्छी इंटरेस्टिंग है. तो एक साधु था और उसके जो शिष्य थे, तो वो साधु ने उनको एक एक खड़ा था, एक स्टोन था, वो उनको दे दिया. And they said, and he said, go and find out the real value of this stone. So he tells to his sisters. They go around. So they go out. They see a small vendor on the street, and they go to him and show that stone and say, what is the value of this stone? He looks at it and he says, no, this is not very precious. I can't pay anything to it because this is of no use. This is useless. There is no value to this. Okay. Then they go to the next person. Now he is a common kind of a common man kind of a person. So he looks at it and he says, okay, looks good. This will be a good thing to have and keep in my drawing hall. I can pay, say, 50 rupees to that. Okay, then they again go to a jeweler, and jeweler looks at it and says, "My God, this is a very, very precious diamond. I can pay few lakhs rupees to this stone." And I can go on and on. But the moral of the story is, people will pay depending on their interest. Okay, So people will appreciate you depending on their interest. If they appreciate you, I think there are few exceptions to this rule, and those exceptions are mostly of the parents. Parents are the one, they will really appreciate you at any cost, uh, regardless of your performance, behavior, and all that. But otherwise, by and large, you will find that everyone else in the world, if they appreciate you, there could be some motive behind that, and if they don't appreciate you, there could also be motive behind that. So depending on their use, their interest, they will value you. That is the point I want to tell you. Then we come to our third examples of this demandingness. So others must behave the way I want. Who are you? Who are you to decide what others should behave? I think this is again very irrational thought, but we do make mistakes in thinking. In our day to day life, we do think in this manner. He or she must be fair with me. No, they cannot be fair with you. They will behave with you depending on their own sanskars, their own interests, benefits, and losses. Okay, I must look beautiful and handsome. Unfortunately, this is not in our control. This is very much biological, and we all know that we only have some percentage in our control. So, whatever is in our control, we can definitely take care of that. But it cannot happen, and the most important thing is the incorrect way of thinking around that is it really does not matter. I mean, I know in this age I can't tell this to you, and you may not agree to it, but remember the people like, I know in this age there is a lot of thoughts around self image, and this self image sometimes leads to depression and anxiety. We have thoughts about am I looking very fat? Am I looking very obese? And because of those overthinking about those thoughts, sometimes people go into the depression and anxiety. So what we tell to them is, it really does not matter. I mean, this issue is too much inflated in our mind. Actually, others, they do not really bother it so much as you think. I mean, let's take example of Abdul J. Kalam, Lata Mangeshkar. I mean, they are well admired. They are people are millions of people are fans. People will die for them. So what you do, and how do you present, and everything depends, and that will really decide what is your impression in the world. So there are lots of thoughts, and I can go on. We have less time. I or others must not make mistake. This must and always is the culprit. Everyone makes mistakes, and we all are human beings, quite okay and normal to make mistakes. So this is a demandingness, and this must be removed, and we should identify those belief systems and correct them. And that is exactly what rational thinking is all about. Catastrophizing, भयानकीकरण बोलते हैं उसको, किसी भी चीज को एक्सट्रीम नेगेटिव में ले जाना। जैसे कि कल एग्जाम है, आई एम नॉट प्रिपेयर्ड वेल, ओके, that's fine. I mean, I understand this happens sometimes. You are not prepared well, तो पहला थॉट आ जाएगा, यार मैं एग्जाम तो रेडी नहीं हूँ, क्या होगा कल, शायद मैं फेल हो जाऊंगा। ओके, द सेकंड थॉट इज, इफ आई फेल, what will my friends think about me? Probably they will not continue friendship with me. I will feel lonely. What will my parents think about it? And how do I face them? Probably they will get disappointed, they will write me off from their life. And will companies really take me because I fail in the exam? Probably I will never have a job, and I will be on the roads. See, from a simple event of tomorrow I am not well prepared for the exam, I have gone to the extreme end of being on the roads without anybody's support, helplessly and all that. This is a भयानकीकरण बोलते हैं इसको, catastrophizing. This is not required, and you will observe that you quite often do this, and that's why you get unhappy. So yes, there is something which has gone wrong, but you have to really draw a boundary between what has actually happened and what you are thinking, and you are taking it too far. जनरलाइजेशन, थर्ड थिंग, अबाउट सेल्फ और अदर्स, जनरलाइजेशन। हम लोग हर एक चीज को फॉर एग्जाम्पल लड़कियां ऐसे ही होती है, द मोस्ट इनकरेक्ट सेंटेंस इन द वर्ल्ड। there is nothing that can you generalize about human beings, whether girls or boys, or or the senior citizens, children, nothing, you cannot generalize anything. मैंने आपको और एक एग्जांपल दे ही दिया था कि ये इस तरह से कपड़े पहनती है, मतलब उसका इस तरह का चाल चलन है। Very very incorrect thought, because you are generalizing it. You never know, that person may be a gem person, just because of the culture, because of her own thoughts. She may be wearing whatever she likes, she may be believing on her own beliefs, and that's why. So this is a generalization, ऐसे rules हम लोग बना लेते हैं कि ऐसे situation में हमेशा ऐसा ही हो जाएगा। ये जो जनरलाइजेशन जो है वो ऑल्सो इनकरेक्ट वे ऑफ थिंकिंग है, which is also leading to lot of depression, anxiety, and then it leads to addiction and the other things. All or none. मराठी में एक सेइंग है, खाईन तर तुपाशी नाही तर उपाशी। दैट काइंड ऑफ बिहेवियर, दैट काइंड ऑफ थिंकिंग, ये चाहिए नहीं तो कुछ भी नहीं चाहिए। तो ये इस तरह के जो इनकरेक्ट थॉट्स है, ये देर आर 10 डिफरेंट थॉट्स, एंड आई विल स्ट्रांगली रिकमेंड ऑल ऑफ यू टू गो ऑन यूट्यूब and search for rational emotive behavioral thinking, or EBT, and find out those incorrect thoughts which we all commonly are thinking incorrectly. Okay, so and then there is a high time that we really get rid of them one by one, and that's why I had put it here. One eliminating one wrong deep belief a day will keep psychiatrists away. If you do it every day, you may be doing meditation or whatever. Maybe after that meditation, try to identify one wrong belief system or a deep belief that you have, which is wrong and which is leading to your negative thinking. So that will be the best exercise that you can do. I think I have already given some example. India must always win is demandingness. I must get first class. I must always be successful. That's a demandingness. She must not have forgotten my birthday. But it happens. There are some people like me in the world who are very poor in memory. In terms of whose birthday is when. It happens. That doesn't mean that I have ill feeling about the person, but it's just that my brain system doesn't work in the way that others think. So that's why we have to always think rationally, is what I'm trying to tell. So some of the examples of irrational beliefs. So what we should do is, we should ask question to our irrational belief. For example, we say I always fail. Okay, I saw one example here. So I always fail, that thought comes to us. We should ask, do I always fail? And that word always should be questioned. Is it always, or is it sometimes? Then if you do, and there is no time for me to take you through the entire exercise of how should we challenge our own thoughts and wrong belief systems, but the final outcome of that will be, if you do that, and if you learn the art of questioning your own wrong belief systems, then finally you will come to the conclusion that I have done some useful things in the life in the past. So it's not that I always fail, but yes, sometimes I fail. See, from always to sometimes, there is a sea change in the way you can look at it and the way you feel about it. Same way, I'm totally worthless. Then you can ask, have I never done anything worthwhile? And when you think deeply, you will find 10 examples that you have done something worth of it. And it is not that you have been always worthless. So exactly and when the counselor sits in front of you, he takes you through that journey. He will ask you, first of all, your self talk. He will identify your irrational beliefs. He will help you question them, or he will question them on your behalf. And then he will take you to the conclusion how irrational that thought is. And he will give you the habit of doing that. He will teach you, he will teach you the skill of doing this more and more often, and maybe making a part of your life. So when this becomes your habit, you will become a rational person. And I can assure you, this is the process that I was talking about it. Take a thought and ask questions and make two parts of it. For example, okay, I'll just explain you a little bit. Life must be easy and comfortable all the time. If something goes wrong, we are very very upset. uh, and we say that life must be pleasant and favorable all the time. This is our thought process, this is our belief system, and it is awful and unbearable when it is not. Okay, now this really makes us unhappy lot many times. The consequences, of course, the low tolerance, frustration, can't cope with that, discomfort, anxiety. This is what exactly you are. If you are facing anxiety, depression, mostly these are the kind of thoughts and belief systems that you have. Now, how do we really prove them wrong? So we take this thought here. Living a trouble-free life is a birthright, and it must be pleasant all the time. This is your belief system, which is generating the thoughts, correct? Now let us question this belief system. Who has given you right to this birthright to be happy all the time? Who has given you that birthright? Does anyone else has this kind of birthright? Forget about you. You look around. Does anyone have this kind of birthright? Is it not unrealistic to expect life to be perfect all the time? So we are questioning our belief system here. And with that, we have to gather some evidence. So literally, when we say, does anyone else has this birthright, we have to literally look around to 100 people and check how many of them has got this birthright. Your answer will be 0 out of 100. That means this thought is incorrect. Is it not unrealistic to expect life? If you think deep, you will find that it is really unrealistic. And how many times in the past life was not comfortable and I died? The very fact that you are thinking now, that means you are alive. So this must have happened lot many times in the past, but you have survived, correct? So then we come to the other side. So we have to see both sides of that belief system. So on this side, when you think deep, you will realize that my life is much better than many others. Yeah, wherever you are, there is always someone below you, there is always someone above you. If you see below, you will find that your life is much better than many others. And yes, there were occasions when things were not comfortable, but I found solution and I survived. So yes, if this is a rational way of thinking, so if you do this brainstorming with you yourself, either alone or with the help of a counselor or whatever, then finally this will be your thought that it is perfectly natural for life to be not ideal, and situations cannot be always the way I want. I will find out solutions to the problems and bring changes to make me happy. So, from a very irrational, very negative thinking process and thought, we have to come a very rational, very realistic, and a manageable thought, which is where exactly you are preventing yourself to go to the downside of the psychological disorders. So I hope you have understood how do we think, irrationally many times, and make it a habit to identify those thoughts and kill them, literally kill them at the same time through this brainstorming exercise that I showed you just now. And any situation that you may have, try to draw a boundary between what is in your control and what is out of our control. Many times we are unhappy because we think too much about things which are out of our control. Okay, so let us focus, and this is again a habit that we have to make to ourselves, to focus on things which are in our control. What is in my control? My thoughts, my actions, my goals.
आगे म्हणतो बॉल का धरा नाही तर मला
Um,
माणसं नीट दिसत नाही बॉल कुठं दिसत तो बॉलला का
hello,
धरला की
hello,
पोरं
Kunal. Hello,
म्हणजे
Kunal More.
त्याचा बॉल होती तो त्याच्या
Kunal More, you have to go on mute, please.
यार खेळले काय काय
Or maybe you can
झालं वाटलं ना असं
all
तुझं
of them on mute, please.
पकला बॉल नाही मी नुसतं हात वरती बॉलाचा
Kunal,
Yes, Kunal, mute yourself.
or maybe ma'am, you can mute.
अभयचे बॉल आले असते
You can put
बॉलच
everyone
दिसत
on the
मला
mute.
सर ते सरच म्यूट झाले, ऑल आर म्यूट, ते सर पण म्यूट झाले का? काय करू? नाही नाही, मी ते कोणीतरी बोलत होतं मध्ये. नाही ना, मी इकडनं म्यूट दाबलं म्हणून झालं का? बघा, कारण ते कोणीतरी बोलायला लागलं. त्याचा आवाज येत नाही मला. कोणतरी बोलत होतं म्हणून मी केलं. पण ते एक्सक्यूज मी सर. सर, यू आर नॉट ऑडिबल.
Okay, oh sorry.
हां
Good that you told me. I think
हां, नाव यू आर ऑडिबल सर.
okay. Okay, so this is another activity that you can do. Now there is no time, so I will not go through the exercise. The World Cup is going on. We go up and down when India wins and when we lose. So I think our irrational beliefs that India must always win the cricket match, we can start with that. We can ask some questions to ourselves: how many times it has happened, what has been our competition, England, Australia, South Africa, everything. You can gather the information, evidence, and see whether this thought is correct or not. So a lot depends on a given day in the cricket. A lot depends on the pitch. A lot depends on our players, like Shubman Gill is not well. Okay, so those things are bound to happen, and these they have an impact on the outcome. So I think I will more or less going to pause here. But before I switch off, I want to remind you of the test which I am going to give you. So I think the mind wellness test is the one that I think this many of the students of this group have not taken. We made certain assumption that you all have taken the test, and that's why we did not give you this test. So what I'm going to do now is that I will share a link of mind wellness test with your faculties, and they will share the link with you. But before you take the test, I want to remind you of 2 3 things. First thing is that this is a computerized automated test, so no one will know about the outcome of the test. So give with the full confidence and very very honestly. I can assure you the outcome of the results will not be shared with the college. So it is only you and the computer. It is like looking at the mirror. So psychological test will give the accurate results only if you answer those questions honestly. And I'm assuring you that your responses and the outcome will only be conveyed to you through email. So as soon as you complete the test, you will get an email with the report, and where you will get to know about the symptoms, and based on the symptoms you can further take the action. You will also come to know about positivity, but again, the questions which are related to positivity and thinking, don't try to show yourself as very very positive person. I mean, you should show what you are, and then the test will capture that picture and show to you this is what you are. So if you try to bluff the test, the test result will bluff you. Okay, so please make sure you honestly answer all the questions. And we have already talked about the videos which are embedded. even if some symptoms are there, don't be panic. It is most of the time, in this age group, those symptoms are temporary, but you need to act on them. And how to act on them, what to act on them, there is a enough guidance given in the video clips which are embedded in the test report. So please take help of that. There is a helpline which is given there. Feel free to dial that helpline. There is no cost involved. Talk to me also if there is a need. My phone number and all that I'm going to give now. So let me know if you need any help. But I just want you to give this test honestly, and then take the advantage of all this solution, automated solution that we have created, because it is for you guys. This was done with the intention that you all should know about your mind wellness. And let me remind you that if your mind is not sound, you will not be able to perform in the career, in the academics, in your marks and all that. In the similar way, I'm also going to share some links about these tests. This is the test of your learning ability, which was shared last time. Those who have not taken can take it again, but you will find a new test here this time for the memory function, which was not there last time. So I'm going to share a test of memory function, which will take 20 minutes for you. It will be very interesting for you to know, like, what is your memory, how sharp it is, and there are brain trainings by which you can make it sharper and better. So with all that, I would stop here. I know we are almost over the time. If you have any question, I have time, so I don't mind staying back for a few more minutes and ask any question that you may have. But if there are no questions, then we will stop. So any question, guys, feel free to ask question. We'll just wait for, yeah, anyone wants to ask any question. You can either unmute yourself and ask, or maybe you can type here in the chat box, whatever suits you. No question?
Yes, dear student, any doubt?
So that means either it is very well understood and there are no questions, or it is not understood at all. Either of that. Okay, so I think looks like there are no questions, and in that case, I will like to stop here. So thank you very much for listening me for the last 2 hours. Uh, and if there are any questions, you can feel free to reach out to me. My phone number and everything is here. You can also use the helpline. Uh, yeah, thank you very much, students. Thank you very much. I look forward for the next session where we will cover some other topics like the emotional intelligence and so on. Thank you very much.
A very big thank you to Dr. Nagesh Rajopadhyay sir for his efforts towards this session, Internet Addiction and Psychology. Really, we should set time limits for Internet usage and try to shorten our Internet sessions. So, thank you, sir, for your interesting and thought-provoking address. I'm sure that all the participants have taken note of your suggestions. We are all inspired by your great words, and we, on behalf of the peers, Modern College of Engineering, Management, and the entire mentor coordinators of the MCOE, we extend a very hearty vote of thanks to Dr. Nagesh Rajopadhyay sir. Thank you, sir, for spending your valuable time with us.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you,
And
sir.
I'll share the link with Seema ma'am
Yes, sir.
or whoever, and then you can distribute that to the
Yes,
students.
sir. We will forward
Thank
it.
you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Look forward. Yeah.